I'm going to start admitting people.
Hi, John. Hi, Alex. Hi, Karen. Hi, Patini.
Hi, Padmini. How are you?
Good, good.
Hi.
Nice to see your face, Alex.
And Karen as well. All right. I saw a few more people log in and I guess they logged back out, but I guess I'll just get started and add them in so we can stay on time. Thanks, everyone. Happy Wednesday for joining us. So excited to see all your faces. Okay, so a couple Zoom rules for those who haven't joined us in a while. We have, please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. All video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your friendly faces and smiling faces. Please type all questions and comments into the chat. We love engaging with you. We love hearing what you want to say. So during our special guest speaker's presentation and during the Q&A, please feel free to enter your comments and questions into the chat, and we'll be sure to get to those at our Q&A at the end with our special guest. And a quick update from Autism Tree. We have now reached over 548,000 people through our social media channels, all of our social media channels. And our posts have been shared 938 times, which is wonderful. Thank you so much for engaging with our content. We have been posting videos weekly. We have now have 343 videos on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe today if you haven't yet. It takes 1 second. Super easy. Like I mentioned, we post weekly amazing video content. We've now posted 292 videos since March of 2020 last year, which blows my mind. Almost 300 videos that we've been posting from all of our program managers, volunteers, our community partners, supporters, people who want to reach our families and have a huge heart for them. And it's just a great way for us to stay connected and see each other's smiling faces online. We also have our Reading with Autism Tree series, which started last April during Autism Awareness Month. We have posted 104 videos of our volunteers reading children's books to kids. We've reached over 44,000 people just through that video series, which is incredible. And we now have provided 224 virtual events to date and have 19 events coming up between now and the end of March. And we constantly add new events each day and each week. So definitely, if you want to stay tuned into what we're doing, there's a lot going on. So we'd love to hear from you and see you at all of our virtual events. We do have volunteer opportunities as well for those volunteers out there. We also have been offering 19 of our 20 programs virtually in person. So all of those 224 events fall under our 19 virtual programs, which is incredible. So thank you to all of our program managers who really stepped up their game in 2020 and made it possible to keep serving our kids and families during this time. So big thank you to them. And without further ado, I'll hand it off to Dana Hoff. She will be introducing our special guest speaker today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca. So good to see everybody. And it was a wonderful pre-call that we were having with Peter. We were always starting to go a little bit over because we hadn't seen each other in so long. Some of you might have seen Peter at various ATPF events with his beautiful daughter, Maddie, but I know the last year has felt like we've all been in a vortex, and I know sometimes the exhaustion just seems to be heavier than others, and I just think it's no accident that today, our 40th Lunch and Learn, Peter is coming to us, and I feel already a little bit refreshed and just I don't know, a reconnecting happening. And that's what I want for everyone at Autism Tree, is each week to realize that the foundation in 17 years has so many roots that we don't even realize, or we haven't even fully got to explore. And that's just something that Peter and I were talking about, and Rebecca earlier on the call, is how I know Peter is he was Garrett, my son's third grade teacher. And my father was a teacher, and I just have a really deep connection because my dad was a teacher to always trying to imagine what the teacher's life is like. And so at that time, Peter had a lot of third graders, like maybe 30, and Garrett had definitely required more attention than a teacher that had 30 children. So I think because of that, I really got to know and respect Peter on a different level than many teachers he had. And you know, there's teachers in your life that stay with you. And for sure, I know if any of you are friends with Garrett on social media, it touches me deeply when Garrett gives kudos back to Mr. Harris, Peter Harris on his Facebook. I've seen him do that. When you compliment him on his writing, he will throw it right back at you as to you had a big role and influence on his love of reading and writing, and got him, you know, certainly he made a lot of progress with your help. And then Peter, every week we do about 3 things that are part of the format, and you'll see that. And then after, when people type in the response to the question I'm going to ask, we send out a follow-up email with the recorded version of your Lunch and Learn. And we do that because a lot of people will come back and watch that weren't able to be on today. And like I was mentioning, that if someone didn't know the foundation and they were to look at any and all of our 40 Lunch and Learns, they really would feel the heartbeat of Autism Tree. The thread is that they're all completely authentic, and they all have a heart connection that threads all the way through, which is how Autism Tree keeps enduring for 17 years, is that heartbeat, that heart connection from each of us. So when I was thinking about Peter as Garrett's teacher and who are my teachers, I wanted to share with you a photo. Rebecca, I'm going to show something that I want to be on the full screen. The question is, you can type in, and then we'll bring up the slide. What teacher had the greatest impact in your life? And I want to show this, Rebecca. Put me up on full screen. This is a picture, and I feel like pictures are 1,000 words. I think you can tell how much my mom was like my guiding light, just even in that photo. She really sort of like taught me by always doing something. Like we were always doing whatever activity it was together. And that's why I love this picture so much. Like we always loved the Sears catalog. We were shopping for something. So, and it wasn't just my mom, my dad was actually a teacher. And I love this photo of me and my dad. These are my 2 favorite photos in my life, but they actually are my greatest teachers. And I think the pictures just show why, because they were just always teaching me whatever they were doing. I was like right there learning from them as they were doing it. And so I just wanted to give a little tribute that hands down for me, my greatest teachers that I feel like I'm always referencing, even though they're not here anymore, is my mom and dad. And I'm so interested for everyone to type in maybe what teacher had the greatest impact in their life. And I love, Peter, we're trying to make everything more connected and having, you know, that special touch that we're all missing. So people are sending in photos that they've personally taken. This one's from Santana, who actually works at ATPF. And it was in the UK in 2019, October, which is so beautiful. And Santana is just an incredible light at ATPF and runs our Lego program and does so much more than that. And the next thing I do is usually show a video. And I love this video all about the impact of teachers. And I think you'll get a kick out of it. It's just sweet, but yeah, it just really brings it to life. And when I watch this video, I'm like, this is Peter Harris right here all day, every day.
Right now, there is a kindergarten teacher perusing the aisles of Target, even though he still has 2 more weeks of summer break. He is already dreaming up ways to make his students feel welcome. His classroom will be a refuge. For a few kids, it may be the only place where they feel truly safe because of a teacher. There's a language arts teacher who will take a week and give up her lunch period, those blessed 26 minutes to scarf down a meal, in order to help a student learn how to read. And although the progress is slow, this boy will become a reader because of a teacher. There's a math teacher who will have a room full of kids who claim that they're just not good at math. By the end of the year, his kids will be geeking out over ways to solve complex problems. They'll see that math can be creative and even fun, and they will become problem solvers because of a teacher. There's a science teacher who will inspire her students to chase after questions. And one afternoon, they'll be so excited about their experiments that they won't even notice the bell ring. And they will become scientists because of the teacher. There are history teachers who will inspire students to record history, and a group of PE teachers who will encourage kids to get more active. There are technology teachers who will help students send their work to the world, and fine art teachers who will get kids to find their creative voice. There are foreign language teachers who will help kids communicate globally. And there are CTE teachers preparing students for all kinds of jobs. And there's this teacher librarian who will see the students as children and not data. He's creating a makerspace while also inspiring kids to fall in love with reading. And they will become lifelong learners because of a teacher. And right now there's a fourth grade teacher with a scribbled up yellow legal pad. She's dreaming up wild new projects. And even though she jokes about not wanting to go back to school, she is secretly excited about meeting her new group of students. This is her 27th year and she's still taking creative risks. To her, it's no big deal. It's what she does. But it's a big deal to her students. To them, she is a hero. And this year, she will make her students' world epic, like she always does. They will remember her forever, and she will change the world in ways that she cannot even fathom. And all of this will happen because of a teacher.
I love that video, and I think about it and I just think, wow, you were that teacher for Garrett, and that's just one of your students. And I really can't even imagine if you really were to do the math. I'm sure you can, on how many students you have. And I'm pretty sure the third grade year that you had over 30 students when Garrett was in your class, you had that kind of impact on every child, because I was there with you and I was witnessing it. So I know you haven't been teaching in the last couple of years, but I want you to know that legacy of you being a teacher will be there forever. That is, you know, part of who you are. And I picked a quote for you as well today. The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. And once again, I saw you doing that in your classroom day in and day out. And it was just a gift to reflect on you and also to think forward about getting to know what you're doing in your current world and how it is really exciting, because you're doing so much with therapy that I'm not even had the time to really learn about. And I'm not sure we're going to cover that today, but whatever we cover, I've already been really touched just to reconnect today. And I'm so excited to have everyone who's on the call today get to know you better. Peter Harris is such a gift to our community, not just the Autism Tree Project community, but the one much larger than that in San Diego and beyond. So thank you, Peter, for making time to be here today.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I didn't really look at that slide with you. Rebecca pulled up the greatest pictures. I apologize. You got to pull that up one time. Peter, look at these photos. We go back and look at you at Autism Tree. And I'm so proud that Rebecca found this many. If you look in the far top left corner is when we were celebrating Aiko's birthday at a core team meeting. And I love how much you lit her up. She was going through a tough time at that point, and I love that picture of you with her. And then, next to that, Garrett with you and Maddie and I at the office. And I think that potentially one of these pictures is when you were transitioning to get into leaving being a teacher and going to the new role that you're in. And we were kind of brainstorming about it. And I felt like it was going to be a great fit for you because you're such a people person that in your new role, it would be still a great role for you. And it was so great to have you at breakfast at Tiffany's and helping us with the Giving Tuesday telethon. And I love that picture in the far right of you and Todd at the neuroscience conference. So it's kind of nice to show these because for those of you on the call, you might remember seeing Peter and his daughter over the years at some of these events. And Rebecca, thank you. I really love, Peter, having these memories come up of the different things that we shared with you in the archives at ATPF. It's fun.
Oh goodness, I thank you. I'm overwhelmed right now with feelings that I hadn't really felt in a while as far as the teaching aspect, and I'm deeply touched as I kind of left the teaching profession somewhat abruptly, and so we talked a little bit earlier about being reflective, and that's not necessarily something that I typically do. But I was sharing with Dana and Rebecca about what I wanted to talk about today. And when they first asked me, it was a bit challenging to find exactly what topic I could have gone in a couple of different directions, but I'm deeply touched. And as Dana said, I taught Garrett many moons ago in third grade at Sunset View Elementary, where I taught for 14 years. And it's part of my life that I am extremely proud of. The teaching profession gave me so much satisfaction. So again, those pictures and those memories, taking me down memory lane was very nice. Thank you. So, hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Peter Harris, and I am someone who is currently working with a physical rehab company here in town called Therapy Specialists. And I'm not going to talk about that at all through the talk today, the Lunch and Learn, but I want to give you some background as to who I am and why I'm here today. So if I may, I'm going to share my screen real quick. I was very touched again by the invitation to do something like this. I've known about Autism Tree for some time, obviously with Dana having been a parent of mine and Garrett being a third grader of mine. But, one of the things that I've always been completely amazed about with Autism Tree is their ability to connect with a wide variety of people. One of the reasons why I wanted to be involved in the organization was because every time I would attend one of their meetings, I would meet someone there that I hadn't met before that was such an impressive person. They just had some qualities that I just marveled over. So I felt like, goodness gracious, I would be a fool not to be a part of such an organization where they bring so many dynamic people together on a regular basis. So, and I'm sorry, is mine sharing? It's, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, and we can see your screen perfectly.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm somewhat not able to move to the next slide, and I'm not sure exactly why that is. Give me a second here.
No problem. Maybe you can exit your screen and then start sharing again.
Yeah, let me try that. So clearly, I'm not a techie.
There is
here I am.
Lunch and Learn that goes by that doesn't.
There we go. There we go. So again, yeah, why are you listening to me today? So again, going back to the years of teaching, Garrett was the first student that I had that was autistic. I had never had a student, even though I'd probably taught for a few years before that. And he is memorable on so many fronts. What I marveled about right from the get-go was his intelligence. And as a teacher, you're going to clearly come through students that are smarter than you. And it's a little challenging, but right away I realized this kid is smarter than me. Harry is the third grade and he's smarter than me. But his personality was such where he had such a voracious appetite for learning. And as a teacher, of course, that made my job a lot easier. But he had some uniqueness that I didn't know exactly how to help him. And Dana was so supportive and patient with me to help me address some of the needs that her son had that I wasn't ever challenged by before. What I remember about Dana first and foremost was her enduring passion to help Garrett, to make sure that he had all of the tools at his disposal to help him become a better person, a better student, a better learner. And as a teacher, that really made a deep impression on me. And when I left the teaching profession, Dana, as she always seemingly did, it was to reconnect. You know, even though we might not have crossed paths for several years, she did a great job in making me feel comfortable again. I was in a point in time in my life where things were very awkward for me. They were hard, and she has this ability to make me see the commonalities in our relationships. The connections again are just a natural, and so she kind of brought me into the fold of Autism Tree. Those photos that you saw were somewhat recently after I had left the role of a teacher, and I'll kind of share some details. So why am I here today? And my life has gone, as all of our lives inevitably do. Um, I've been all over the place, right? In no way, shape, or form has, I always kind of equate life to this flowing river. And at times that the river is calm and nice and smooth and straight ahead, and other times, you know, big bends, ups and downs. And I feel like that's kind of mirrored my life, so to speak. And I'm kind of here to kind of share my experience, my life experiences with how to grapple with some challenges. Obviously, we're here in a worldwide pandemic. We've been dealt a gigantic challenge, and this is a challenge that's obviously extended well beyond what most of us were probably hoping it would last. But yet here we are, almost a year of dealing with it. And I was hoping to maybe share with you some of what I feel are like key traits, if you will, key tools that might help us survive these challenging moments in life. So there's the journey. And as you can see, it's long, it goes everywhere. And at different times in our lives, it's not going to be easy and calm. So let me kind of share with you some background. The reason I left teaching is because my wife of 23 years, we were together for 30. She was my high school sweetheart. Had some genetic disorders that were always going to be life challenging. We were told when we first met when we were 17, we were in high school, as I said, got married when we were just out of college in our early 20s. And over those years, she had subsequent surgeries that were going to, at some point in time, we somewhat knew were going to shorten her lifespan. But the optimist that I am, I didn't really pay attention to that. You know, we basically lived our lives. She was a nurse. I was a teacher, and we had a beautiful, glorious life. We adopted our daughter. We have one single daughter, Maddie, who we adopted hours old when she was a newborn. And my wife and I were at 32 years old at that time. And we, again, her health was an issue. It had always been an issue, but it ebbed and flowed like a river does, right? It has moments where it's chaotic, and then other moments, everything was hunky-dory and fine. And we came to a point where we realized her health was becoming more of an issue. I took a sabbatical from teaching at this very time, again, knowing that we wanted to spend more time as a family together. Within a couple of months of taking the sabbatical, I had given my class up to another teacher. I had basically walked away from the classroom. I had everything in the classroom, but just basically gave the class to another teacher and was going to come back the following year. Well, just months into it, my wife, even though, again, she's had some health issues, we were expecting at least 5-10 more years. She passed away suddenly. And at a time when I didn't have a job, I didn't have a profession, and I didn't need the money. It wasn't about that at all, but I felt like, when I taught, I had to do it the way I always did it. And that was basically just put yourself into every day. I had a 15-year-old daughter at the time, and she obviously was going through a lot of emotions. I was going through a lot of emotions. I knew I was not going to be effective as a teacher to teach, however many kids I had that year, if I was not psychologically, mentally, emotionally all there. And I certainly was not. So I took a few months off, and my family, I was fortunate enough to have my family. My mom had started a physical rehab business. She's an OT. She was an OT by trade, and had built this business that I never wanted to have anything to do with because I was a teacher. Well, my sister was heavily involved in the business. My brother was involved in the business. My sister-in-law was involved. So it was a family-run business. And they reached out to me and said, hey, I know you probably need something to occupy your time. Why don't you try doing some sales, doing some drumming up of referrals? And again, I was a teacher, so it sounded so foreign to me, but I started to embrace this new me kind of a thing, right? After I kind of grappled with the emotions of losing my wife, I started to rethink what's the new me? What's the new version of Peter going to look like? And so I took this opportunity. Again, I didn't have to make a decision on teaching yet, but so I embraced this new opportunity and started a new job, a new profession, new expectations, having never had any sense of business at all. And I find myself meeting new people every day. And so that whole first year was it didn't fit quite right though, right? I was grappling with, again, not being comfortable ever. And I think a lot of us, we like to be comfortable. This year has really challenged us because we haven't been comfortable in some time. But I've come to find that being uncomfortable is actually something that is really, really powerful for growth. And so that brings me to kind of why I'm here today, and how do we cope with life's challenges? And again, we're going through one as we speak. And I found this image of this this man, I'm assuming, based on the hands, and just the dirty hands. And life is very much something that's going to give us dirty hands at times. It's not pretty. So going through this life experience of not having comfort at all in anything I was doing has kind of grown on me. And I've been able to reflect several years later now, and looking back on it, it's helped me turn myself into something that I'm probably happier with today than ever before. I'm feeling like I am more comfortable in my own skin today than ever before, which is kind of crazy, but I think it's these life challenges that have really helped me become this person. And by no stretch of the imagination am I perfect at all, but it's giving me the sense that life's challenges are not something that I'm going to back away from and shy away from, but rather embrace. So the key, I think, is that this is the word persevere that I vividly remember teaching my kids, my students about third and fourth grade. I would inevitably start the year with lessons that I knew were going to be very, very hard for them. And the lesson wasn't for them to gain an understanding of a concept. It was literally to make them aware of this word and make them aware of how it's going to make them feel. And so it was a lesson which involves some very challenging puzzles. And I would give it to them, and I would simply tell them, and I wouldn't give them all the directions. I would purposefully leave things unsaid. So they would become frustrated, and they would have to try to solve it on their own, or they would have to loop in a neighbor. So I gave them a period of time where they literally had to do it on their own for a bit. And you would see the frustration build. And again, these are 8 and 9-year-olds. And so what does frustration look like? Well, it oftentimes looks like you would expect an 8 and 9-year-old. It became tears oftentimes. And I tried not to, that parenting instinct is to wrap yourself around them and teach them and give them the answer, so to speak. Well, I was really not wanting to do that. So I, again, shared with them, this is going to be hard. You might not come to the answer right away. Stay within yourself and try to persevere. And they didn't know what the word persevere meant. So we talked about the definition of persevere. And so after about an hour, we kind of came together and shared some thoughts and understanding on what we did to solve the problem. And they talked often about how it made them feel. And that kind of set the tone for the year, in that we're going to be doing a lot of things through the year that are going to make you feel similar to how you just felt. And in life, we have to persevere. There's going to be times where we're not going to have the answers, and it's instinctual to want the answers so quickly. And yet that doesn't allow us to grow in other ways. So I always start with, if I'm going to go through life, I have to have an understanding of what perseverance looks like. This is not a solo trip life. This is not something that I've ever wanted to go it alone. I've always felt that I'm going to survive by the people I have around me. The people that I put in my lifeboat are going to be the people that I strongly connect with, that I value, that are going to help me through the ups and downs. And this is not just personally, this is professionally. So I'm finding myself in this completely new world of business, and I have had to meet a lot of new people along the way. And it is through this connection that has given me a great deal of satisfaction in finding people that have different skill sets than I do, but are potentially like-minded in some small way. And oftentimes not like-minded, but we have some commonality that we find and discover through connecting. And I feel like Autism Tree does this better than any organization in the world. Is the idea to connect with a wide variety of families on so many levels. So connecting is hugely important to me. This was something that my wife taught me and helped me, because I've not always been grateful. And her health issues have been something that she came about learning when she was 17 years old, when we first met in high school. And being grateful is simply being content with what you have, and being able to see the sunshine through the clouds. Whether it's simply taking a walk along the ocean front. I'm fortunate enough to live in a beautiful neighborhood of Point Loma. I have a job, I have a roof, I have a healthy child. There's so many levels of being grateful. And so literally every day I try to find 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I literally write them down. And I could easily come up with 3 different things every day. And it provides happiness, despite the challenges that we're going through with COVID. It's so important that we find things that we are grateful for. And again, I think that was a lesson that my wife taught me. Despite all of her health problems, she was a very happy person, and she remained happy because she found things to be grateful for every day. Yeah, optimism is super important, obviously, as well. We all have to be able to look forward and find something that we are optimistic about. I always make a point to look forward to something every day. And that could be something simple like reading the paper with a cup of coffee in my hand, or playing tennis in the afternoon, or taking a walk. I literally every single day there's something that I am looking forward to. Going back to the connections, looking forward to seeing people. So obviously today I was super optimistic because I had an opportunity to connect with Dana and Rebecca, 2 people that I hadn't seen in a little while, Karen. So some faces that I hadn't seen in some while, and having an opportunity to share my experiences, that gave me a lot of optimism. So also knowing and being okay with being lost. Shortly after my wife passed away, I didn't know if I was going to go back to teaching. I didn't know what my next profession was going to be. I didn't know, once I even got the new job, was I going to be successful? Um, so it was a lot of me just having to come to terms with being okay with not knowing where I'm going. And I think it's hard for those of us who have to have a roadmap. So obviously teaching was very regimented. I loved that. I loved having a schedule. I loved having our daily schedule. We would review it every morning, and it just gave me this peace of mind of, okay, I know exactly where I'm going to be at 12:15. I know what we're discussing at 2:30. And then all of a sudden, a new job comes my way, and I have no idea how to map out my day. That was super scary. But over time, I came to accept that, and again, grow from that, and knowing that, I don't have to know where I'm going today. That's okay. Wow. So, and this is a challenge for all of us, I know, be calm. This is a year that has been unlike any other. And I'm not naive enough to think that we're going to be calm at all given moments through the storm that has been a pandemic, a global pandemic. But I kind of go back to the lessons that I gave where I was teaching perseverance. And a lot of lessons were challenging because students don't always get it right away. And rather than me have to freak out, because that's probably not going to be something that's going to bode well for my students learning the concepts if I'm freaking out. So I always made sure that outwardly I was calm, even though internally I might look something like a storm, but I've tried to channel that through life, and that I'm not going to be effective in parenting. I'm not going to be effective in any aspect of my life if I'm always outwardly out of control. And so I try to calm myself. I try to breathe. I try to meditate when I can. Um, I try to visualize. I try to get this overall sense of calmness at times in order to be able to do what I need to do. So I'm naturally someone who can be hard on myself. And my wife would always say this to me, and it would just have this soothing effect on me the moment she would say it. Be kind to yourself. And in times of difficulty, it is so important for us to take a moment and understand that we might not have that Superman cape on all the time. We can't do everything always. And to be okay with not being able to do what you ordinarily were capable of doing. So I really had a hard time emotionally, obviously, over that first year, and still to this day, I grapple. It's been over 4 years now, and there are moments where her memories come flooding back to me, and I'm not able to focus the way I would like to be able to focus. So I have been able to repeat this to myself a lot, because I just don't have the ability to always focus like I did. And so to be able to just say, you know what, be kind. And again, going back to just all of this change, all of this newness, all of this not always being comfortable has allowed me to fight through it and to persevere and become, in my opinion, someone who's far more grown up. I'll say I'm over 40, we'll say. And I feel like I am so more mature than I have ever been in my life. And I think that's a good thing. So I'm hoping that just through, again, sharing some experiences of how I've grappled with challenging times, again, those are inevitable. We don't live in a bubble, and we can't always protect ourselves from these challenging moments. We can't predict them, but they happen. And I know each of you have had things that have befallen you that are not easy. But to know that we all experience challenges and difficulties, and we all have this great support group in Autism Tree, and their ability to connect with us, and hopefully our ability to connect back with them, is going to be sustaining and allow us to get through the difficult times, because we know that we're not by ourselves. We never are. We always have people that care for us and are going to be there for us through thick and thin. And because of that, I know I'm going to be okay.
That was beautiful, Peter. Thank you so much.
I think we all need it. I have no doubt that everyone, I include myself in this, somehow really needed to connect and just to feel your you're the essence of what you've gone through and shared is it's just sort of everything, right?
Yeah, and I've always been someone who learns better through experiencing. And so, of course, right, I mean, you experience life every day. So it's through these moments that I have learned more than anything. And I've become more appreciative of those moments. Now, certainly, as you're going through them, you don't care to experience the challenges. It's only as you look back on it can you understand the growth. But I thank you for even giving me this platform, this opportunity. I've never actually really kind of shared that with anyone. But as you invited me that first time, I grappled with what direction I wanted to go in. And I was sharing with Dana earlier that I wanted to reach out to her. I wanted her to kind of direct me a little bit. And I'm glad I didn't, because, through just me grappling with it, and again, persevering through what I might want to share personally, it came to me. And so, again, I'm just really appreciative of the opportunity.
Yeah, well, I want you to know that there's not even one chance that this is an accident. And in not my heart, in my soul, I believe that these lunch and learns are they're very valuable for the long-term legacy of the foundation, and something that we'll always have as like a reference point. So we're already kind of doing that sometimes, like with someone will say, okay, watch this one for whatever reason. And so the one thing I see is also commonality is that I could have never asked you to share what you shared. So that's what makes it also so special, is that was your decision. And there's so much power for all of us to learn in that, for us to choose what we're going to focus on, because you grew through doing that. I'm sure I felt it myself, like, wow, we're doing this with you. Like, it's a big step. And now we're going to probably, each of us, somehow find the way to take maybe a step we haven't been able to take because it's scary,
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone else is on this call that wants to say hello or reach out to Peter while we're together. It's
I
kind
see
of nice
Dave.
that it's small.
Yeah,
Dave!
gave a shout out. He's on mute. Dave, can you unmute yourself? I just requested it. He's not very tech savvy.
Hey, buddy.
But
Okay, well, while he figures it out, I haven't met you, Peter. My name is Alexandra, but I just wanted to say thank you. I'm a board member, and I'm so glad that I was here today. Thank you for opening up your heart to us today and being vulnerable. Just, I'm also a teacher, and I felt a lot of similarities. I used to teach also and taught for many years, and then I gave it up after my kids. But it's so nice to hear from a grown man. You are a young but very enlightened person, and thank you for sharing your journey. I know you've gone through a lot, but I can feel that you have been able to surround yourself with a lot of support people that care and love you, and thank you for being a bright light for ATPF. I know Dana always brings the best people to talk, and I'm just really glad that I was here to hear your story.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Dave, you can go ahead and
I
speak.
think I'm okay. Peter, obviously, I lost my wife after 23 years of marriage as well. And we were junior high sweethearts. And everything you said, I agree 100%. And it goes for the rest of my life, because that was 25 years ago, come April 3rd. So thank you for sharing. I am recommitting to all of those fundamentals you just said that I had to use all these years, because that's what life hands you. And it was no accident I got to be on today. Came a little late, but I think we sold the house today, so yay.
Congratulations, Dave.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Dave.
Well, we're just about time. I think it's I needed to hear this today. Honestly, it was really, really touched my heart, Peter. So thank you again for coming on. And I can't wait to share this with so many people who need it during this time. And thank you.
You're very welcome, Rebecca. Again, thank you all so much for the opportunity and the opportunity to reconnect with everybody. Looking forward to more opportunities with connecting with all of you. You're absolutely going to be seeing my face around Autism Tree project and all the different things you guys have going on, much more so in 2021.
Oh, thank you so much, Peter. We always do a group picture at the end. So
Okay.
thank you, everybody, for being here.
Everybody smile at the camera. I'll take a screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Have a very happy Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Bye, Rebecca. Bye,
Thank
Dave.
you all.
Bye, Ellen.
Good
Bye,
to see you
everybody.
guys.
Let's live. Thank you, Peter.
Love you guys.